All right, man. So as you heard, we're recording everything that we're talking about from right here on. We're just going to be on the public access channel, and there's not going to be a lot of form to this. I just want to have a conversation with you today.
Cool.
So what's your name, man?
Name's Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. How long have you been in Albuquerque?
So I'm 32 since I was about 8.
8 years old, man. How'd you come out to Albuquerque?
I had my godparents. Well, my godfather. He raised me since my parents weren't together for too long. Like I was with him for like back and forth always.
Yeah. And where was that at?
Custody battles and stuff. It was all right. I loved my dad and my mom, but they had problems. So my grandma would always tell my mom she wasn't worthy of being a mother. So she knew somebody at the Eberline where she used to work, and she introduced them, and it gave me up to him, and I was like, no say with me, like
no one considered you when you're doing that, and that's how you got out here to Albuquerque. Is they kind of moved you out to another spot?
Yeah.
What was that like? Kind of just being as a kid told like, hey, we're gonna put you with another set of adults now, and no one kind of considered you. They're just like telling you this is what's happening.
It didn't really dawn to me, like until I was older, like where's my family at,
Right.
I'm going to school and stuff.
So you went to school here in Albuquerque?
Yeah.
And where did you go to high school?
I didn't stay too long in high school, but I went
Me neither.
Del Norte.
Oh, nice, man.
Freshman year, the principal knew the middle school principal, and they'd actually talk about me. Like, they didn't. A dude named Mr. Alder at McKinley, he didn't really like me too much. So fitting in kind of in the new environment was pretty tough, just kind of going on through the whole thing. Well, the environment was all right, but it was more the school,
The system kind of getting through the work. What didn't you like about school?
I like school, actually. It's just the
teachers and the administration, more of the people in the office.
They were cool too. It's just mainly the principal.
Oh wow! What was your problem kind of getting along with that part of the process? What was their issue, I guess? If you could ask them, what would they say?
They're all right with me. Like I said, it was mainly the principal didn't like the fact that I was always getting in trouble and getting stoned before school. And
that's kind of how my high school experience went too.
Yeah.
So how would you, people may not know this about you, but we met just the other day. You would ask me a question while I was waiting outside to see my girlfriend, and you would ask me on the downtown streets, what was the question you asked me? Do you remember that question?
From being scared, is there a difference between being scared or terrified?
Yes, being scared and being terrified.
What was the difference, or what was worse, being terrified or being scared?
So you asked me that question. We talked a little bit about it. Like what's the difference between terror and scare? And it's kind of an interesting difference. And I thought a lot about that because I would think a lot of people who are in a position in life that you're in would be pretty terrified, not just scared, but terrified.
Yeah.
And I think you have a very calm attitude about your surroundings. This is now I met you now at the library again.
Mm-hmm.
So today we were coming down to do an interview, and you were hanging out at the library. I had to return a book there actually too. Yeah. So it was pretty cool running into you again, and you got a dog Ninja here who's off camera, taking a well-deserved nap. And so how long? What happened to you after high school?
I actually I was on the run for a long time from.
So you ran away from your foster family at that point?
Well, I never had a foster family. It was just my godfather.
Your godfather. You didn't like his kind of authority, and you decided to take off from that. At what age?
15.
15. So what was your plan? What did you do? What was your idea there? You just didn't want to be where like he was, essentially, like. Yeah,
just being there in the house and not being able to get stoned and it's all. He didn't really punish me or have too many rules, so I would always just take off anyway.
Gotcha. He kind of didn't care if you were there or not, and at some point you just decided, well, why am I here if you care if I'm not?
Well, he wanted me there. He loved me very much. I didn't want to be there, and there was a point where he put me in he used to work at Memorial Hospital. It's no longer there, but he used to
Yeah,
be, he used to be a mental hospital.
Yeah, I know
And-
that. It's a hotel now, yeah.
Yeah, he used to be a chef there, so he thought maybe if I put him somewhere where I worked and I see him every day, it would be all right. But he put me in there, and he was like,
That must have been a strange environment.
yeah, I didn't belong there. Like, I shouldn't have been there just for smoking pot, you know?
What did you do there for the hospital?
Just had to be there, you know?
Just kind of in the same environment as
Yeah.
him. So at some point you kind of just get tired of that structure, you know, you're going in and out on your own. What makes you decide, you know, I want to take off. I'd be better on my own than I'd be here. What kind of spurred that decision for you?
I don't know, just not wanting to be home. I never really thought about it until, like, later on in the future. But I think just not being able to, like, it felt awkward introducing, like, my friends and stuff. And just being around, it felt a little awkward.
No, it wasn't quite like your
Like
environment.
home, it wasn't like my mom and dad. Like, introduce my mom and my dad or my sister, you know.
So you're really kind of more looking for home at that point. You're like, this isn't home. I don't like it here.
Right.
I want to go find someplace that's quite closer to home. Now, what was that? Where did you go then? Where was the first place you went to look for home, I guess?
I used to just couch hop. I used to go to a friend's house and
Chill there,
Yeah.
chill at another spot. And you told me at the library that, so you left your stepdad at 15, and you've been just on the kind of around New Mexico ever since?
yeah, we used to move around like Taos. Him and his family were actually from Silver City. We used to take trips out there with his mom, and she was a very nice lady. His mom, I actually called her grandma, and she used to cook tamales, and she had good cooking.
That sounds nice, man.
I actually helped her make some tamales with her.
Oh, that's
It
nice.
was fun.
No, I love that. That's something that I love to do with my own girl's family as well, so I can connect with you a lot on that. What's it been like in the last then however many years since you were 15 to kind of just be exploring life on your own on your own terms? Would you say that you've found more of the answers that you were looking for since you took off at 15?
No, really, it just got worse. You know, like when I started I got on probation. The lady I broke into a house. In fact, with me and my friends, and I guess one day, my Nino had found me on the streets, and he was all terrified or scared. He brought me back into the house. And before my friends knew that, they started a fire inside the vacant house I was living in pretty much. And the fire department went and told all of us we had to go to court, and I got a.
So it was a vacant house that
larceny.
you found that no one was like living in?
Yeah,
Well-
it was in the neighborhood,
In the same neighborhood that you
Yeah.
were in too?
and the fire department went around and told us we had to go to court, and they actually got me for arson and all this stuff that I didn't even do, you know.
So your friends were over there messing around in the
Yeah.
house. How did they even start a fire? Were they trying to do it? Were
Yeah.
they were just trying to get a little bonfire going kind of thing? And
No, my friends were not. There was one of my friends was really crazy out there. Like, he actually cut the head off a cat.
no kidding.
Yeah, and he was swinging it by the tail. You could see blood all over the walls.
just that was the kind of personality he had. He
Yeah,
loved
he-
destruction. And
Right.
in that moment, he's like, I'm going to burn down this abandoned house.
Like
This is
anarchy kind of stuff. He even had the anarchy sign on the wall. He tagged it all up. It was pretty crazy.
that was his idea. So that's kind of and from that point, you kind of felt like things started to take a turn for the worse. At that
Yeah, I
point.
got it. When I got probation, her name was Stacy Webb. She was like already tired of me having so many dirty ways that she was like, well, why don't you try drug court, youth drug court? And I did it for a good 5 months, and then after that I was like, the hell with this.
This kind of wasn't working. Was it?
Yeah.
Were the people that you were working with in the system
Yeah.
kind of not working with you? Was it? What was your problem with them there?
It just got hard, you know, like if you knew about youth drug court, you'd know that you'd always have to be there every day at the courts.
So actually, I didn't know that. I don't know anything about youth drug court. So what was
Yeah.
that like for you? What was the process? What did you have to go through?
You had to go to the meetings every day of the week. You have 2 probation officers actually that would show up at your house, and
Wow. So you kind of felt like you were just being watchdogged there at that
yeah,
point.
it got pretty rough. And then never having a clean UA, he finally threw me in the D home,
No kidding.
and I told the director and everybody, I was like, oh, I'm done with this. And after that, they actually gave me a 2-year commitment because I forgot what happened.
That's kind of part of that process, though, is as you're moving in, the system kind of, you felt kind of getting honed down, and it didn't feel like they were in your best interest. It felt like they were kind of just, that's got to be crazy every single day going in to see those people.
Well, they say they want good for you, you know, but they make it so rough, you know, like.
How do they make it rough for you, man?
It's like I said, like always having to show up there, not having, like I keep on telling the guy his name's Larry, I think, one of the probation officers, and I keep on telling him, like, I haven't smoked any pot, and he's like, well, it doesn't say here on your drug UA, and it got to the point where he's like always on me about it, and he finally threw me in the D home, and when I got out, I got a clean UA, and after that clean one, I did another UA and it was dirty, and I was actually shocked because I was like, I haven't smoked any weed. It was a trip, and so I went back to the D home, but we'd have a bunch, like a counselor. We had counselors that we would go to groups and every day kind of thing. And
so when you turned 18, how did the system treat you? Did they kind of take you out of that whole system, that whole process?
I had already, before I even got to 18, I was already doing my 2-year commitment.
So kind of they put you in that system before you even became an adult. So by the age of 15 through 18, when did you kind of stop having to deal with them on those issues? Or are you still dealing with them on issues like that?
No, they're done now, but as soon after I went to YDDC for a 2-year commitment, and I even did a little squishy time at this adolescent treatment center called Sequoia.
Okay.
I went there for like most of my commitment, and at the end, I was like already doing drugs inside the treatment.
The place they put you to try to get off them, those were already in there.
Yeah, there was a guy I already knew. Yeah, we used to get visits. They're pretty lenient on visits. And his girlfriend sent him some heroin.
Oh wow! And they got that into the system there.
Yeah.
So in this kind of youth treatment facility, that was already making its way in there.
Yeah.
So did that kind of make it feel hard that, did you want to stop using those things at that point? But so everyone was kind of excited that was in the system, and
just me and him. No, we didn't tell anybody else.
it was pretty low down.
Yeah.
So coming out of that, then what was it like to kind of be out of those chains, and they kind of said, all right, you're on your own now, and you kind of don't have a lot of options.
It is never really like you're on your own. I'd got after I was done with my commitment, they put me on like some parole or something, and they sent me to Juarez, another program, and I had ran away from it.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I got caught by the police or something, and they sent me to MDC, and from MDC they sent me back to YDDC because they knew I was still like in the youth.
Interesting.
Kind of like program. So after that, they were like, well, we're going to try to get you to one more program. It was the Boys Integration Center. It was just like up the hill from YDDC.
Interesting.
And stayed there for like a couple of weeks, and I ended up just running from there too. And that's when they finally said, right, we're hands off. But they didn't say that, It
wasn't so clear that they said, we're not going to keep trying to put you somewhere else.
Yeah.
They kind of said,
They stopped looking for me after that.
They stopped looking for you.
Yeah, they're like unsuccessful discharge.
Unsuccessful discharge.
Yeah.
That's filed as. Yeah. So that's got to be a crazy feeling that from the age of 15, you got all these different authority sources that you're really just trying to break free from. You don't like that Overwatch, you don't like that Overwatch, and it seems like every time through those ages, every time you kind of get out of their arms, they're most concerned is kind of bringing you back in. Yeah. What was it like to kind of just know that they weren't looking for you anymore? Did you have a feeling of relief that you could go about your life again? Or did you actually feel a lot more resentment about all of that, what they put you through, just to say, no, we're not going to come look for you anymore? Yeah. You didn't feel abandoned by almost the system even? No. You were happy that they kind of went just off your back?
A little happy. I was just like, whatever. I'm just glad I'm back home and able to live my life,
So,
and In fact, I went to even harder drugs since I got out of there.
So it was, and would you say the connections you made through that process enabled you, or once you were out, kind of just in the streets of Albuquerque, did you manage to find more people who were interested?
I already knew them since before I even got locked up. I knew my friend. We used to get high on meth, not that much, but like as soon as I got out, that's all I would think about too. When I was inside, you know, I was like, "This is smoke a bubble right now. It'd be awesome."
Just kind of like that was what you kept your mind on that whole
Yeah.
process. So do you still know those friends then? Like, would you say you've kept that kind of same group of friends since your young age?
Well, we grew up where everybody went to their own, with their own life, you know. But yeah, I still know them, but it's not like I go over to their house and spend the night anymore, you know. Like we all do our own thing now.
Interesting. Did you ever say, "Hey, can I sleep on your couch tonight?" And then they eventually stopped saying yes to that kind of question?
I just don't go over.
You kind of just felt like, yeah, I'm not gonna kind of go over there to bother you anymore. So what about your dog? You got a dog off camera here, no one else can see, but they're taking a good nap. That's Ninja. How'd you meet Ninja?
I was in Santa Fe. I was actually traveling from back and forth from Colorado. I met some crusty kids in Santa Rosa.
No kidding.
And they were, I forgot how I met them. I was trying to get out of Tucumcari.
Trying to get out of Tucumcari. So you got stuck in Tucumcari. You went to Tucumcari, couldn't get out of Tucumcari.
Yeah, I snuck on a Greyhound bus and
got out there.
I got off on Tucumcari because I always heard war stories about Texas.
Oh yeah.
And it was going to Chicago, and I wanted to go, but then I was like, eh.
Going through, no, Texas scares me too. I don't want to go to Texas either. No, they got scary laws over there.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, I'll stop here at Tucumcari, and now you're trying to get out of Tucumcari.
Yeah.
And how old are you at this point in Tucumcari?
22, somewhere around there. I didn't know how to hitchhike or do none of that stuff yet, and somebody eventually picked me up. And he was like, he kept on trying to ask me if I had any drugs or any meth on me. I was like, I could get you it if we go to Albuquerque, but I don't know anybody right now. And so he drove into Santa Rosa and he left me there.
Santa.
Yeah.
That's some of the way at least, and you got out to Santa Rosa.
And there's the first couple of people that I noticed inside the gas station he left me at was this dude with long hair, big scruffy beard, and he had dreadlocks, in fact. And we kind of clicked right away. And I talked to him for a while, but then I kind of like was trying to go get some money or something to get out of here, get out of there. And as soon as I walked to the other side of the store, there was another dude. His name was Jitter. He had like a blonde dreadlocks and long beard, and he had a very pretty girlfriend. Her name was Jessica.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why I stopped to talk to him, really, is because his girlfriend was pretty hot. But we clicked right away, and I told him my whole situation, what was happening. Like, we'll be happy to give you a ride, but we don't leave till tomorrow.
Okay.
We're gonna go to Taos to go camp out there, but we're not gonna go into Albuquerque. We'll give you a ride up to Santa Fe, and you catch the train back or something, but fuck Albuquerque, they said.
They just said, we'll take you around the city pretty much. So now you're in Santa Fe, and that's how you get up to there.
Yeah, and they're like, well, you came this far with us, and would you like to just come to Taos to camp out there? And I was like, yeah, sure.
So now you head up all the way up to Taos.
Yeah, and
where in Taos? Do you remember, into the mountains or kind of outside in the...
by the gorge in the mesa.
Oh, and by the gorge. That's a beautiful part of the state.
Yeah, we actually hunted 2 rabbits and ate them.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
How'd you hunt the rabbits?
They had a pellet gun.
Went out, got some rabbits, cooked them up at night. And did they bring you back down to Santa Fe after that trip?
No.
Or did you have to make your own way back down?
No, actually, Jitter and Jessica were going back to Arizona. And the other dude, Andrew, he was like, well, I'm going to Colorado. Would you like to...
keep going north?
Go up with me? I'm going to Portland, Oregon. I was like, sure, let's go, let's roll. So from there, we we hitchhiked and got it to a straight ride all the way to Denver. And right when we got to Denver, I was like, wow, it's awesome here. This is cool here.
Really different environment out there. So what's that like? Kind of, you've been running for so long, and now you've kind of just managed to make your way up to Denver just through meeting people, talking with them, going through life experiences. How old were you at the point you got up to Denver?
I was 23, 20.
So you've been out running on your own for a few years now, and what's it like to come into like a city that different I'm from New Mexico, born, grow up here. When I went to Denver the first time, it was kind of crazy to see the buildings kind of just like coming out of a mountain. What was that like for you to kind of show up into a space like that?
I loved it, dude. I was having a blast there. I even went to a concert, because I always liked ICP and Twisted and stuff, and there was actually a 2-day tour. Twisted was coming to Colorado, and I went to it, and people paid my way in and everything. But before that even happened, we went to Boulder, Colorado, and I got overly drunk, ended up in the drunk tank there in Boulder,
no.
and I lost Andrew. But
you guys got separated at that point.
Yeah, I got out because I was actually in jail. I was that drunk, and then they finally let me out of jail, and I was like, well, I got to get all my stuff back. And the last thing I remember hearing Andrew say is that he was going to shoot up to Fort Collins. To make a long story short, I used to travel from Fort Collins, Boulder, and Colorado.
That was kind of your hop between those areas.
Because I left Andrew. Andrew left me, and I was like, I back up with him in Fort Collins. But I was like, I'm probably going to stay here. So
you liked it up there?
Yeah, he went up to Portland, Oregon, and I ended up just staying there in Colorado.
So why'd you come back down to New Mexico eventually?
It got like, I stayed there for September, October, and then November. As soon as it hit December, the snow and the cold, it was horrible.
Brutal. So you found your way back down to New Mexico pretty quick.
There was a bus, like I forgot what the name was, like L something, some Mexican name. It was a Mexican bus.
Interesting.
And it'll take you from Colorado to here up to Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was just like $50 just to get back. So I bummed around until I got $50 and came back to New Mexico.
Wow.
And that's when my Nino was still alive. So when I came back, I lived with him for a little while. No, he had passed away before then. I came back and saw my one of my ex-girlfriend's mom. We were actually dating for a while.
Oh, wow.
And I went back to go seeing her. She found out I was actually here, and she came pick me up.
Oh, that's nice.
And
so how'd you get back to Santa Fe to meet Ninja, your dog?
So all that ordeal had happened, and I was kind of like tired of New Mexico. And then when I hit back into Taos coming back, I got really drunk and got a battery on a peace officer. So when they let me out, I got probation, and they're like, well, we could get this off your record if you do probation and do all this.
The whole process.
But I'd always miss court, and I'd be sitting in jail for like a month. And anyway, I was like, since I have probation in Taos, I won't come back to Albuquerque.
Right.
I'll just stay in Santa Fe. And anyway, I knew a dude named David, and we used to hang out with this other dude, Randy, who used to sell his bud. And one day, David was at the Vargas Mall in Santa Fe, and he called Randy. He's like, hey, they're giving away free dogs over here. So he gave me a ride all the way to the mall, and the guy from Espanola had a whole litter, and he was just giving them out. And as soon as I looked in the car, I saw a couple of dogs were like jumping at me, but I moved them aside, and the first one, he was sleeping, and he was just laying there. So I picked him up. I was like, that's the one I want. And ever since I've had Ninja. His first name was actually Sweet Pea King, like mispronouncing Sleepy.
Yeah.
Sweet Pea.
I like that.
And it's been on since then.
But now it was actually really amazing. So as we walked from the library over here to the studio, Ninja kind of just follows you. They'll do their own thing. They'll stop and look at something, but they know where you are. They keep track of you, and they come out for you. So how does that feel to kind of have a companion by your side?
Oh, he's an awesome dog. I feel blessed with him.
Do you feel kind of excited that you at least get to travel with them, that as you get to see a new place, that you see their excitement to kind of see something and look through that. So that's got to feel pretty cool. So what were you doing right before I came in and talked to you? You were hanging out in the library. I had to return a book. What were you doing with your day today? You know, what were you doing there at the library?
Just staying out of the heat, really.
It's hot. No, it's really hot. I think it's over 100 today. So it's not an easy day to be out here in Albuquerque streets. So kind of just staying cool, and definitely had no idea that you'd be talking with me today, I'm sure.
Yeah, no.
So is that your kind of average day, and kind of just trying to stay out of the heat, and you know, what's your best way to get food while you're out here in Albuquerque?
I normally, in fact, in the food chow hall right here at the Humble Cafe, I just sit right there pretty much, and people just come help me out, or they always say a closed mouth never gets fed, so I'm like, hey, you couldn't spare a couple bucks to get something to eat?
Closed mouth never gets fed. I like that. So
seek you shall find, ask you shall receive.
So people kind of, you know, you're just kind of hanging out. And do you like the downtown area more of? Is that the area you prefer? Or do you like to travel around Albuquerque?
I travel around. I don't normally stay in one spot for too long. Downtown is the spot I do hang out the most, but I do go to different spots because sometimes people aren't always generous, or they tend to like, hey, I've helped you already, you know, or something like that, you know.
Like,
they don't say it, but you normally see somebody around for so long, you're like,
there's almost a rapport there, and they stop feeling generous at that point.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So
even then, the people still help us out, like.
So I get that's part of my question then. So before we started this, I kind of let you know that there would be a title for this, which is just a single question, which is, what does it mean to be a good neighbor? And before I even ask you like what your answer to that question is, when you start to recognize people who also recognize you, who stop being generous, who you know they kind of frequent some of those spots, do you or myself, we've seen each other a couple times now just naturally in the city. Do you feel like, would you consider me and some of those other people your neighbor, or do you kind of have a different definition of neighbor, that of the kind of people that you would say that these are the people I commune next to, and I consider them kind of my fellow people? I consider you my neighbor, but you might have a different definition. How do you feel about that?
I never really thought about it. I always thought about like friends, you know, like in today I don't really have friends. Like I consider people as like acquaintances, and barely even that sometimes, because being an acquaintance is somebody you hang out with frequently during the day, like they'll show up or something. But yeah, I guess.
So the people kind of you see on a basis where you recognize them, they don't kind of tend to treat you as someone that they would recognize either. You might recognize them, but
a lot of people do consider me, like, they'll say, yeah, you're my friend, but I'm like, barely even know you, really. Like,
how have you ever helped me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's my question. I definitely would consider you my neighbor.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a good neighbor?
A good neighbor, someone who's not really like gonna be all up in your business, but at the same time, if they see you down, and now they'll come by and like try to lift you up, or just lend a helping hand, you know.
Do you feel like you see a lot of good neighbors to you in the city? Would you say that a lot of the people around you?
Yeah, they are. They're pretty cool people. No matter where you're at, I think that if you think you're right, or if you think you're wrong, either way you're right, you know. And, like, and at the same time, like if people see that you're hurting, like they don't want to just leave somebody down, you know. They want to help out, you know. I don't know how it is in other cities, but this is a good city, and people do help out a lot, and I like that about that.
That's good. And
I love my neighbors here. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Do you ever feel like people have your best interest at heart, or do you feel like people kind of are interested in helping you in a moment, or do they kind of move on with their lives after?
Yeah, they kind of just out of the moment, you know. They say, "Hey, I like your dog," or "You need anything? Are you hungry?" And they'll help me at that very point. But it's not like they'll, "Hey, can I get your number? Or do you need
some
help?
Yeah,
or
how can I help out?"
Yeah.
If people started to do that more often, where they kind of kept a rapport with you and they kept track of how your life was going. What kind of difference do you feel like that would make for just in your own life? Would it make a difference, or would there be something that you could feel would be significantly different if people kept tabs with you?
I really can't say because I don't know what it would be like, you know, because I never experienced it. But I'm pretty sure it'd probably do some good or some positive, you know.
And do you right now? So you mentioned your number. So you have a phone. Do you have?
No.
You don't have a phone.
I don't.
I know it can be hard. Sometimes you do out here. Sometimes you don't. It kind of goes back and forth.
And I had multiple phones, but people were always stealing my stuff. Like people in my same situation or in my predicament, they're always like, I don't know if they get jealous or they're always like watching me or what it is, but they see me doing good and they want to take from me or trip me, you know.
So funny enough, in the way of like looking at a good neighbor, sometimes people that are closer to you, that are in a situation similar to yours, they tend to be a bad neighbor in those instances. That's even
not
though
all of them.
Not all of them, but in a funny way, people closer to you tend to do you wrong more often than someone.
They want to see me fall or something, or they see. This is my point of view. I think they look at their own life and see how horrible they are, or how horrible they feel, and they judge a book by cover. You know, they don't know how I'm feeling, but they see that I'm doing, like, I have a smile, or I'm trying to carry on, trying to be strong, you know, and they want to trip me. You know, they don't want to. They I don't know if it's that they want me to feel as bad as they do or something.
So do people feel pretty bad out here that you kind of talk to, the other people that
sometimes,
you know, me too?
Yeah.
Is there kind of like what's the energy? Do you feel like people have somewhere they're trying to get to in life, that they're trying to kind of just stay in the nice, you know, positivity? Or do you feel like you get a lot of people who get a negative mindset that kind of spiral downwards even more so?
I don't know. I see a lot of people this stagnant, you know, that I see, you know, that so it looks like they want to do good, but it's like they want to be homeless, you know. And a lot of people that see them, they think that everybody's the same. I'm like, I'm not trying to be homeless. It's just what it is, you know, like. But it seems like I look at their life and it's like, why do you want to stay at that shelter or stay where you're at? Like,
they seem contempt almost.
Yeah,
where they are.
Fuck that. I'd rather do something better, you know.
I like that. I like that energy. So, in your kind of eyes going forward, you said you're 32 now? Or
32. Yeah.
32. Where do you see kind of yourself going forward that you want to see yourself do better in your own life? Where's somewhere you think you have kind of going for yourself?
I see myself driving a truck. You know, I want to get my CDL. And probably not staying here in this state, but
that'd be like the best job almost, right? Yeah. Getting to drive anywhere and just for long amounts of time, see everywhere you can.
Just driving a rig, like, no matter how far I need to take it, it's me and my dog. Just getting out, you know, making good money.
That'd be nice. So you have that desire. There's something there that you really like to accomplish with that.
Yeah.
And I hope you're able to get there. That's something I think you can absolutely obtain. You got a lot of wit about you. You're very patient and compassionate. And if I could bet my cards on anyone, it would definitely be you for being able to get yourself into a better, the place that you want to see yourself be into. Do you have things that you wish other people would kind of keep in mind as they, you know, you talk about people being almost complacent with where they are. Do you feel like there's a good way to help people stop being complacent, or how do you, as someone who has some motivation in your own life, how do you keep that? How do you not lose that even in the worst of times?
I really don't know. It's all God, you know, and like, regardless if I get out of this predicament or not, I know that I'm okay, you know. Like, I know God doesn't look down on me because of where I'm at, because all this was already created before I even got put on there, you know, put on earth, really. Like, to keep on being positive, it's kind of hard. I don't know how longer I could last until I'm gonna this break, you know.
You kind of feel that you're worried that your positivity might not keep up one day. That one day it's gonna hit a. You're not sure. I'm not sure. You never know how life kind of goes with that.
Yeah, but I don't know how to how to help anybody else out. You know, like it's all in their own hands, really. But I put it in God's hands for sure.
Now, we were kind of talking right before they started rolling this about how cool it is that this might, last longer than we are. Music, the same kind of thing. You get to leave a little handprint on the cave wall for others to come by and see. So if you got to leave a message for someone about your own life, about what you've been through, about the things that you think are important, if you got to tell something to someone who's not going to be from our time, who's going to be born after we're gone, what would be that thing that you would tell someone who's not here yet, to kind of understand what it's like to go through life, and a message that they would find reinforcing?
Just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. And if you truly want good for your life, not to depend on too many people, but start by like making I never got this advice, make it a bank account, or start saving money in an account, and choose wisely what you want to do. But
and
every day is a choice to make, and whether if it's bad or good. The only time that it's bad is when you're not able to make a choice at all, and that's pretty much when you're dead,
Right. Well, that's kind of a hard thing to understand, I think, for someone who, everyone kind of goes through hard times, and I think you would. I don't think you understand how much ability you have in yourself, how much patience and confidence that you exude that I don't even have in my own life, in my own personality. And I think that's kind of incredible that you have that and you carry it with you today. If you could tell something to the people who both, kind of are helping you out when you ask them for help, and to those that you see who are complacent in life, what's some advice you'd give to everyone to be a better neighbor?
I really don't know. Just being able to talk to people, like
Conversation.
or listen, even because I don't talk much, but I do listen, and I might not have too much to say, but if a good neighbor I think is someone who can sit there and no matter what it is that they want to let out, being able just to be there to listen,
I think that's something everyone should do a lot more of. Thank you for talking with me today. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you coming out here and giving your word out, and hopefully some people are going to see this. I can't guarantee who or how many, but I'm glad I was at least able to hear your story today. So thank you for coming out with you and Ninja, and we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. I think we're good here.